The Galactic Council had made their decision. Planet Kepler 442b, designated as a Class 15 Deathworld, the highest threat classification in known space, would serve as humanity's prison. The Council representatives from 47 species had voted unanimously. Humans were too unpredictable, too violent, too adaptable. They had started 3 interstellar incidents in their first decade of contact. Exile was the merciful option. "They'll last a month," declared Ambassador Zywxtor, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "The atmospheric pressure alone will crush their fragile bones." Commander Vela of the human delegation said nothing. She simply smiled. 6 months later, the Council received their first surveillance report from Kepler 442b. What they saw made their various forms of blood run cold. The humans hadn't just survived, they'd thrived. The planet's crushing 3.2G gravity that was supposed to confine them to crawling. The exiles had built pressurized habitats and begun systematic strength training. Within 3 generations, their children would be born adapted to the pressure, their bones dense as titanium, their muscles like coiled steel. The native megafauna, massive predators with electromagnetic pulse organs that disabled all conventional technology. The humans had studied them, learned their migration patterns, and domesticated the juveniles. Now they rode them across the crimson plains like ancient cavalry. The acidic rain that dissolved most known metals. Human engineers had harvested the native crystalline trees, whose sap neutralized the acid, and built sprawling cities that gleamed like jewels beneath the toxic downpours. "Impossible," whispered the Archon of Centauri Prime, watching the footage of human children playing in what should have been lethal conditions. "We calculated every variable. This planet kills everything." "Everything except them," Zywxtor replied, his voice hollow. The second report arrived a year later. The humans had discovered the planet's unique geothermal properties and built a fusion reactor network. They were mining the abundant heavy metals from the core. Their population had doubled. They were sending coded messages into space, not distress calls, but trade proposals. By year 3, the Council faced an uncomfortable truth: the humans hadn't just colonized Kepler 442b. They'd turned it into a fortress world. Its very deadliness made it unconquerable. No Council species could mount an assault through that atmosphere, withstand that gravity, or survive the indigenous life forms that humans now commanded like extensions of their will. Commander Vela's daughter, now governor of New Terra as they'd renamed it, sent a message that played before the full Council assembly. "You sent us here to die. You chose the most hostile world in charted space, believing it would be our tomb. What you forgot is that Earth, our homeworld, was a Class 12 death world. We evolved dodging apex predators, surviving ice ages and plagues, building civilizations in deserts and tundras and hurricane-swept coasts. We are the children of a planet that spent 4 billion years trying to kill us. We learned to adapt or die, and we chose to adapt every single time." She paused, her face weathered but strong beneath Kepler's red sun. "You meant this as exile. We call it home. And we're not angry, we're grateful. You've given us exactly what humanity needed, a challenge worthy of our nature. So here's our offer: open trade relations, cultural exchange, and mutual defense agreements. We can teach you what we've learned about surviving impossible conditions. In return, you give us our seat back on the Council." The chamber erupted in debate that lasted for weeks. But the vote, when it came, was inevitable. Humanity had done what the Council thought impossible. They'd looked at a planet designed by physics itself to exterminate complex life, and they'd made it blossom. They'd taken a death sentence and forged it into a homecoming. As Ambassador Zywxtor cast his vote for humanity's readmission, he couldn't help but think of an old Earth proverb he'd once heard Commander Vela quote. "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." The humans, it seemed, were very, very strong indeed. The Council had sent humanity to hell hoping they'd disappear. Instead, humanity had made hell kneel.